Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Andrew Muller, and today I'll be discussing and talking about the German ADFGX cipher code. We'll also be discussing more of the history, background, what it is, and how it works. But today, mainly, we'll be talking about the 5 by 5 grid and cover a little bit of the 6 by 6. Let's start with the history and the background. In March 1918, this nice young gentleman in the corner there, Colonel Fritz Nebel, invented this coding system. This original system is a 5 by 5 matrix. This was used in collaboration of the German army in World War I. So, what is this German cipher? Well, we could use it in a 6 by 6 matrix grid. We can use it in a 5 by 5. And the newer editions, they usually have 26 letters to 10 digits. Now, just like the NATO photonic alphabet, this was a way of sending secret letters all across Germany and their allies. Now, before I go into the operations, this was a very thought out plan. This was thought out for a long time, but it only went from March of 1918 to the end of the war, which was in June. But now let's talk about the operation, and I want you to keep in mind that we'll be talking about a little phrase, attack at once. Now, this phrase, I know, attack at once, it's just to use as an example, excuse me, but to break or not to break, that is the question. On the left there on your screen, you have 5 letters up top. They're bold capitalized, and on the side left, you have the same letters. Now that's the ADFGX. That's part of the code that you need. Now, the smaller letters in the center. That's what you want to focus on truly. So when you have a sentence like attack at once, you want to choose, or not choose, but you want to look for the lowercase a. And so that's in the first bit of lowercase letters. That's about the third column over. So you want to find it, then go to the left, to the right. So in this case, A would be AF, T, AD, another T, AD, so on and so forth. Now, in this example, this is not the best way to use it because you would not have a space in the text. At the very bottom there, though, attack at once would be all together. That is to further confuse people who try to break this code. If you were to split it, it would be a little bit easier to understand. So truly, it wouldn't be attack at once. It would be AF, AD, AD, just like that in a row. So it's a very long string of letters. That's just telling you what it is. So we would use all of these, write it side by side, just like a letter. And then the German soldiers should have that grid memorized by then to fully understand it and read it right there on the spot. Now, this was the original 5 by 5 code that they started with, that Colonel Neville made. But it could use a little bit more work. As you can see, there's no numbers in this, right? And so now we are going to more on that. In June 1918, they made the letter V. Now, this, of course, wasn't really worth it at this point, but it expanded it to a 6 by 6 grid to write more. And the V it collapsed everything a little bit more, but added numbers. So instead of saying attack at once, you could say attack at 0500 hours in military time. That's what they used in Germany at that moment. Of course, that's what they use in every military now. But this was made so they can phrase things more so it's not choppy. It runs a little bit more smoothly. And even the compared to the 5x5, it's all over the place, and so that also helps it instead of like it also helps, so you don't decode it as fast. But unfortunately, the Americans and British were too good on breaking code. Now, this was a really good attempt, and it did last for a good time. Even into World War II, they had a brand new version of it. And so, my question is, what do you think? Could this been more of a better thing for the German army? Could the Germans go more into the war without, I mean, could they do more, before they, of course, had to end the war because of their surrender? That is a good question. I want you to think, and you can go back in this video and try to kind of mess around with things and see what you can come up with. Now, I would like for anybody who watches this video to go back onto the 6x6 or the 5x5 and just say something and have me try to decode and figure out, okay, what are they saying? Now, I would like everybody to be friendly and keep this clean, but I think it's definitely a really cool attempt on building a code just to send. Now, the NATO phonetic alphabet is also a great example. Um, they don't use it as much anymore because, of course, the German cipher and NATO had to kind of adapt and change things around. But this was the end of the presentation video. Like I said, please tell me what you think about it. And if you have any more information, please let me know because I'm actually very curious and I loved researching this topic. So thank you for taking the time and being patient with my poor speech. But everybody have a great morning, evening, um, afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. Thanks.